I love you too.
Can I promote this, Mommy?
I love board games, but I love video games more. I have been searching for years now for a video game that takes the original board game concept and mechanics, but includes everything great about video games. Baldur's Gate 3 came close to translating Dungeons & Dragons to video games, but I found its mechanics too complicated to cater to everyone's simpler imaginations. Inscription came close to scratching that itch, but then decided to get weird. Voice of Cards was too abstract and too easy. Slay the Spire is a unique deck builder game, but I don't feel like it taps into the video game side enough. Balatro is just solitaire on drugs, and the ports are just that, ports. For those of you whose board gaming experience ends at Monopoly and Uno, hardcore board gaming has a lot more elements you may not be familiar with, like managing limited money and resources, engine building, main and side objectives, unique character class traits, and of course, the luck of the dice. Citizen Sleeper 2 is the first video game I know of to have all these things. Managing resources in particular feels just like a board game. I love it. Yet, Citizen Sleeper 2 takes advantages of being a video game as well. Instead of having one board to play on, it has 10 different unique boards, most of which have their own little expansion boards for contract missions. Imagine trying to set up all that in real life. It also takes advantage of that offline single-player experience that board games just can't offer. Its story is very human, meaning if people were to live on remote space societies, this is exactly how I would expect them to act. The cyberpunk-esque premise did keep me engaged throughout. The writing does remind me very much of fanfiction, for better and worse. For better, the text oozes with passion, and they clearly know how they want their characters to be and give them lines that fit their personalities perfectly. For worse, it's overly wordy at points and lacks the finesse of a quality author. I just wish the writing wasn't the only reward for completing gameplay sections. Yay! You just beat this level. You now get to read a few more pages of your book. Hooray! But Indy's gotta do what Indy's gotta do, and I give this game a lot of grace because of that. I have to say this here because there's no other spot for it to fit in this review. This game is best played on PC. The controls were clearly made for keyboard and mouse, not a PS5 controller. I played it on the Switch and there was slowdown, frame rate drops, and the game had a few bugs where it was just confused on what I was trying to do. But hey, the game was half off on the Switch due to some shenanigans, and the price cut was worth the mild inconveniences for me. Admittedly, a lot of the freshness wore off after the 8 to 9 hour mark. I found myself in the last few hours afterwards starting to rapidly click through dialogue sections, and I got bored with anything that wasn't dice gameplay. Granted, the game compensates, giving me more exploration objectives and contract missions before ending. Citizen Sleeper 2 is enjoyable, doesn't outstay its welcome, and for me gets a score of 86 out of 100. I hope board game players try it out, and I hope video game players try out more board games. Seriously, the board game community is better than Final Fantasy XIV's, which is really saying something. Thanks for listening to me. Nerd out.